Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Shang. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. On Wednesday, March 1st, the American Chamber of Commerce in China released its 2023 China Business Climate Survey. Only 45% of the surveyed American companies regarded China as their primary or among their top 3 investment destinations. This is the largest drop in the survey's 25-year history. At the news conference, President of the Chamber, Michael Hart, said, "A year ago, 60% of people said China was either their top priority or their top 3 priority. And this year, that's fallen to 45%. 319 American multinational companies participated in the survey, accounting for about 47% of the total member companies. Of the respondents, 55% reported no plans to expand or decrease investment in China operations in 2023. What factors are behind American companies' bearish views? For one, the impact of the 3-year pandemic and the severe lockdown. 2, the difficulty of business travel for Americans, and 3, the overall downturn in the business atmosphere. Affected by the zero-COVID lockdown, 68% of the American companies participating in the survey predicted that their company's revenue in 2022 may be flat or lower than that in 2020. COVID was first reported in humans in late 2019 in Wuhan, China. In order to diversify risks, most of the member companies have begun to invest in other countries and establish alternative production lines. Their overall confidence in China has begun to decline, especially after the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China last year, when the Chinese government discussed establishing domestic champions or state-controlled companies in various industries, making 65% of the American business people question China's commitment to continued foreign investment. 49% said that they feel less welcome than a year ago. That rises to 56% in the consumer sector. However, when asked if they plan to withdraw from China, as many as 74% of the American companies said they would not consider relocating manufacturing or sourcing outside China. 12% had begun moving their business out of China, and another 12% chose to remain on the fence. According to American Chamber of Commerce in China's survey, the increasing number of companies that are relocating or considering relocation is a warning sign worth watching. Com Rafferty is the chairman of the chamber. He called on the US and the Chinese government to face up to the challenges the foreign business community is encountering. He addressed the news conference through a pre-recorded video. Last year was particularly challenging for our member companies as they dealt with China's economic slowdown, zero-COVID control measures, and ongoing efforts to ensure compliance with various new US and China-related regulations, he said in the video. According to the survey, the increasingly tense US-China relations topped the challenges facing US business people in China for 3 consecutive years. Other challenges include COVID-19 prevention measures, inconsistent regulatory interpretation, unclear laws and enforcement, rising labor costs, and regulatory compliance risks. Moreover, American business people are pessimistic about the future trend of US-China relations. 46% of those surveyed believe the relationship between the 2 countries will continue to deteriorate, as many as 72% have felt political pressure from the governments of the 2 countries, asking them to make political statements. Tensions between the US and China have affected the hiring process of US companies for the first time. The survey found that 51% of companies reported their top expatriates are unwilling to relocate to China. This may also be related to China's strict pandemic prevention measures. He Jianbing is a Chinese economist in Hubei province in central China. He told Voice of America that the survey results reflect geopolitics such as the war in Ukraine and the tensions over Taiwan. He said that China's tightening control of foreign and private enterprise is not conducive to attracting investment. He predicts the pace of economic decoupling between the United States and China may accelerate in the future. On Sunday, March 5th, at the start of the annual legislative session, Premier Li Keqiang announced China's target of around 5% growth this year in gross domestic product. This year's growth target is more conservative than last year's, which was 5.5%, a target missed by a wide margin. Last year's 3% growth rate was the slowest in decades. In his last government work report before he is set to step down, Premier Li said, "This year, it is essential to prioritize economic stability and pursue progress while ensuring stability." Achieving a growth rate of around 5% this year would mean the Chinese economy would expand by an average of roughly 4.6% for the 4 years from 2020 to 2023, down a notch from the 6.7% average annual growth rate between 2015 and 2019. Mr. Li said Sunday that the government would boost fiscal spending by 5.6% this year, less than last year's increase. While fiscal revenue was expected to grow by 6.7% this year, more than last year. Officials are aiming for a fiscal deficit of 3% relative to GDP this year, suggesting Beijing isn't likely to stimulate aggressively. One question this year will be the extent to which export growth slows. Export growth began to slow in year-on-year terms and then to reverse course in October, after consumers and business in the West cut back on spending amid the central bank's aggressive moves to tame inflation. The government work report called for support for first-time home buyers, new urban residents, and young people. However, it also reiterated that housing is for living in, not for speculating on, mantra. That suggests that the property market may not be able to behave as a major engine of growth. Beyond the goals outlined in Sunday's government work report, the economy's performance will hinge on whether the new cabinet can revive confidence among households and private businesses. It is almost a mission impossible because the cabinet is packed with loyalists to Mr. Xi, not competent technocrats. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.